Welcome back. I have moved into my new apartment and I know what the first project is going to be. It's subtle, but all those video games and DVDs need a proper home. 37 years worth of stuff does not fit on one very old handmade shelf in an apartment, and the inset shelf is not made to store that many games and DVDs. And I've been building this collection since I was, oh Lord, young enough. And this handmade shelf will rock back and forth if you nudge it ever so slightly, so the design leaves something to be desired. And I've learned a lot since then. It just won't work. Nope. But this inset shelf is packed all the way back, and as high as I could reach for the most part. And this wall is where these shelves are going to live. The shelves that I'm going to make, I kind of have to design from scratch because I can't really find anything on the internet that satisfies what I want that also wouldn't have the same problems as shelves that you get from Walmart or Target. They're not big enough, they don't carry enough, they're too expensive for what they are, they're made of particle board, and look at that DVD, it deserves better. But first things first, the dimensions of a DVD case, I don't believe I wrote it down there, but it is a 1/2 inch thick. And for a 200 inch shelf space that I initially planned, if I could do, I don't know, the 8 or 9 shelves high that it could go, 200 times 2, so that's 400. 400 DVDs per shelf times 9 is 3,600 DVDs potentially in a maximum 200 inch setup, which is pretty gnarly, and I believe a significant amount more than what I have right now. But as I was designing this, I wasn't taking into account the things that I haven't accounted for. So this is me screaming my design out loud into the ether. And one of the things that I did not account for, like I have a 5.5 foot tall shelf, counted 8 inches between shelves, and none of that is taking into account the fact that I can't necessarily accurately cut wood in my garage. So, what's the saying? Plans of mice and men go bad. God, I'm uneducated. That's why I have all these video games, which is not true. People that collect video games can be smart or dumb. We can be all things. But more to the point, these are the kinds of things that need to be worked out. Side profile can't be a trapezoid. It doesn't really do what I want it to do. Can't be a rectangle. Those fall down. Rectangles fall down. Don't forget that. But a half trapezoid, which is, well, I mean, it's still a trapezoid, but if the shelves sit inside of it, then the weight will be centered, but it won't lean forward, it won't lean back. And to sort of exaggerate it, this is both sides put together. If I route out the board slots, which is the official word for it, I believe the mortise, then I can kind of get away with murder. Not real murder, like metaphorical murder. I can put the shelves further in than they would naturally sit if I just left them at the back. And then that can lead to some other problems, or at least problems in my head. And now figuring out how tall everything was also didn't take into account the fact that I cannot accurately cut wood in my current shop. My shop is a garage. My garage is a mess. And you're skipping ahead by quite a bit. Shush. Taking into account the thickness of the boards that I would use, you can't get 1/4 inch board. That would be silly, even though I'm positive that I wrote it down. 1/2 inch boards. And my initial plan was to make 3 of these at a particular distance and a particular height. I wanted 5.5-foot tall shelves. I wanted just like a standard 1x6 to be what I was using. And it's a 1x6. It's not a 1/2 inch. A 1x6 is technically 0.75 by 5.75, if I remember right. Board dimensions are universal, but they are universally called something that they are not. So, don't mess it up. Are you a critic? I feel like you're drawing yourself your own critic. Yeah, you are. So, welcome to the boards, and welcome to my garage, which needs so much love. I can barely stand up for like an hour at a time moving heavy stuff around. So the garage is taking a back seat while I am kind of on one leg at a time for anything significant. I did push myself very hard for having Achilles tendonitis. I also iced myself down quite a bit. So I bought the supplies for 2 shelves. The base is going to be a 1x10. The walls will, or no. The sides will be 1x10. The base will be a 1x8, and the horizontal shelves are a 1x6. And the ones that I bought have a little bit of character to them. These little splits, I was feeling really froggy for a 95 degree garage, where 10 minutes in, I sweat through the whole thing, and this boot got soggy. So I wanted to make little butterflies to stabilize these boards so that they didn't split any further. Let me tell you something about my woodworking experience. It's rusty, and wood doesn't rust, so that's a problem. I had a grand idea in my head. I found a scroll saw that I haven't used in over 4 years, and did a terrible job, a visibly bad job of what I wanted to do. So you're watching the first scroll cuts that I've taken in so long. And I'm eyeballing it. And this is both my practice piece and my final piece. I would say that I did learn something. I need more practice. And given the rustic nature of these shelves and the inability and non-existence of a power planer, and the inability to currently use my planes because I can't clamp or hold onto my work, I would say that I did a solid D effort. No, A+ for effort, a solid D result for the flatness of which I'm trying to put this little butterfly in. But you're watching the first butterfly I've ever tried to make. And watching this back, I'm almost positive that the grain needs to be opposite of what the grain of the board is, or else it's just going to pull itself apart if the split is big. You kind of want a plywood effect where you want it perpendicular to what you're putting it into. If I'm wrong and you are more knowledgeable, please let me know, because I'm going to forget that I said that. And I would like to be corrected more than believing something wrong. But I did have fun using my chisel. I had a lot of fun using that little hand router. It's probably my favorite tool to have an excuse to use. It hasn't been used in easily like 3 or 4 years as well. These chisels have been used. My brother was borrowing them, and I was very, very proud to show him how to sharpen them. So that's why I used one of the dullest chisels that I had in my box. Because, if you have not figured it out so far, I'm a fool, and I'm probably minorly suffering from heat stroke and exhaustion already. I frequently left the garage, drank water, hydrated, walked back into the garage, lost all of my water, and repeated. Speaking of repeating and talking about what I'm doing, I made 3 of these. I broke that butterfly, and this one's a V. So, if you are a woodworker or a professional woodworker, just know that effort did teach me many things about this. I think I would like to do this again, and I would like to practice again. But if you're new to this channel, I am fully about showing your mistakes and just not glazing over something that could be better. I definitely broke that butterfly. But as you can see, I can stand on my boot. And when I get motivated to do something, it becomes more of an obsession than it is like logic kind of goes out the window because I need to do something. It's something that I have had for quite a while, and I'm really glad that my needs are more focused on making things than, I don't know, like licking doorknobs. I have zero desire to lick doorknobs. I have many more desires to actually making a doorknob would be pretty cool. Anyway, that's not what any of this is about. If you're 10 minutes in, or if you're skipping around with even I do in the videos that I watch, I hope you're enjoying yourself, and please like and subscribe if you like it, and subscribe if you want more nonsense and you want to see future projects, and maybe even for this garage to be a haven of possibly better setups, like a real bench and not working on the floor. Desperation is a stinky cologne is one of my favorite quotes from Super Troopers that I never say anymore. But desperation is also the what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. I did not invent this, but I know the sides are square, and I know that square is square, and I know that ruler is straight. So I needed an extender, and this worked. It did not work fast, but it worked well. So what I did was I was marking out the lines for what I need to route. And as far as routers are concerned, this one is very old. I don't know where it's from. We bought it, we being me and my brother. He bought it, I took it, and I will continue to use it until I replace it because it is terribly unsafe. I mean, it's safe. The guard is not like falling apart or anything like that. But there was slippage on the guard going down, or the guard being pushed up and the blade going down. You're watching the first route I've ever done. I've never used this router before. I've just seen other people use routers. If you're new to this channel, I will be ranting like a lunatic for most of it. But it took a good bit of doing for me to sort of understand what I want the router to do and how to make it do it. You have to be gentle. You have to take light passes, especially because I think it's like Harbor Freight's cousin brand. I don't really see a brand on it. It's orange, but it's not DeWalt. So honestly, it's a miracle that it worked at all. And another lesson learned. Don't make thin strips of wood like that. They mean nothing. They will, like, I knew better than to do this when I did it. But I committed. And that bottom wood is really just for show. The end result, these are going to be screwed in. That 1x8 is going to be, like, lodged into its spot. The screws will hold it up. I will genuinely never have to worry about it. And you can see that I ever so gently tap the guide downwards to make this one route thicker. The reason you're watching the same route over and over is because this was a significant learning process. Going back and doing it again, every route I did after this was significantly easier. Measuring the line was easier. Having the wrong router bit size was not helpful. If this was a 3/4 inch bit, I could do this in one pass and be satisfied, and my life would be a lot less sweaty. But this did do the job, which is all I needed it to do. And then I needed it to repeat that job over and over and over again. I have a total of 8 shelves, or 8 boards for shelves. That was my ankle popping. Damn. And the bottom one being longer than the ones in the middle. It's mostly for aesthetics. It doesn't really serve any major purpose. It's just something that I wanted to do. And you can see that the bit decided to dive. Then I have to retighten the cover over and over and over again. This was so absurdly common that I started taking lighter passes and trying to be a little nicer to myself in general. Also, if I can help it in the future, I'm going to get a nicer T-square that can be used both as a guide and as a guide to make marking lines, and as a guide for a router, because this was a huge pain. Everything about this was pain. This is one of the most sore endings of a day that I have ever had. And this isn't even the end of the day. This is just where we're at so far. But by now, I am much more in the groove. You know what? Pun intended. I'm no coward. This is going pretty well. The marking on the ruler where the measurement should be for making the right size groove in just 2 passes was a huge save in time, and it made my life much easier. You're watching me struggle through most of this because I'm not a video maker. I'm here to torture you. I am so sorry. I test each slot to make sure that the boards fit in them. There's a little bit of wiggle every here and there, but this isn't a machining channel. This is just me goofing around in my garage, being safer than I look, mind you. I did my absolute best to keep things out of my way, to go slow, and to take breaks, to drink water, so that I didn't have any issues that I was not prepared for. Including turning on and off the router very slowly. This is not a channel where you will watch me get eaten up by a 20-year-old router. I honestly think that it might be around 20 years old. It's so old, guys. Anyway. And rinse and repeat. Measure, mark, and route it out. When in doubt, route it out. Man, I also learned that there's a time-lapse feature on my camera, which you will be enjoying later. If you make it all the way to the end of the video, you get to see not just the end result, but possibly one thing I was not prepared to be so satisfied by, that I left in every single extraneous shot of it, which is organizing DVDs, which is the whole point of this. I'm making a piece of furniture that will last a very long time in my home, to hold what I have held of reasonably high importance, since video games aren't just my hobby, they're my career. I'm an animator. I'm an animator, not a woodworker, damn it. I do woodworking for fun. I'm going to stop calling this woodworking. I'm going to say that I experiment with wood in a way that I feel like I am satisfied. I will do woodworking projects. I will not do woodworking for other people for money. I'm more of a jeweler than I am a woodworker, because I actually make functional, wearable jewelry. But I am not going to sell anybody these shelves. These shelves could be improved upon severely. I could do this whole project all over again with a clean garage and make something that I like more, even up until this point. But very subtly, I superglued the blue tape areas together, and I made an executive decision. Is it a good decision? I'm going to say it was the only decision that I came to at the time. I have a draw knife. I don't have a great setup, but I can make cuts. And in the design, these boards were tapered. They were tapered for both aesthetic reasons and because I feel like it would tip over less in the long run. I will say that it worked out. This wasn't an extraneous step. This was, I'm not gonna say important, but this was something that I feel added to the project at the end of the day. And I'm going to draw a knife some 2 or 3 inches down and make it taper all the way to the bottom. This is the most pain I've ever been in after a project. This is why. I'm using every back muscle I have. My chonky ass is in danger. Not from the knife, from pure unadulterated exhaustion. This was tiring. Especially because I've been in the boot and I can't go to the gym. I can't go to the gym in the way that I would want to. I am reasonably less in shape than I could be. But I found out that I can take some really, really big cuts. With the right amount of elbow grease and the right amount of angle, I can dig into this wood. And that was significantly satisfying. I was having audio issues for a significant portion of this video, and I'm only sad that I don't have a very nice, crisp microphone for you to hear the way that this thing cuts through wood. It's the best. But at this point, there's nothing to it but to do it. I will say that I am absolutely the safety officer of my crafting friends, and I was being safer than this looks. My knees are significantly lower than the knife. I'm in no danger of me slicing my sweet kneecaps off. I need those to make money, and I'm keeping the board sort of situated or stabilized with my tum-tum, and that gives me both padding and a cushion for the boards to go into, but it gives me a gap where I'm not going to pull the knife all the way to my stomach, and I'm okay. You can very faintly see there's a line that I have scribed, or drawn more so, all the way down. That's my guideline. I'm not just doing this blind. Oh, nope. I legitimately freaked out when that happened. This is hours into this. I edited down 7 hours of footage, and a lot of that footage was time-lapse to begin with. So just bear that in mind, and bear with me. If you want a 7-hour unedited version of this, I will put it on my Patreon. You can go there, and I don't even know if I can save a 7-hour video with the amount of storage space I have at the moment. If you're interested and you join my Patreon and leave a comment, I will put up 7 unedited hours of video where I do kind of hurt myself. I scrape a knuckle, and not shown and not captured, I got a splinter directly into the tip of my finger. That was not fun. I have not had that happen in a long, long time. It was from sanding. This knot is the absolute bane of my existence. And it determined that the front of this this set of shelves is going to be rustic. The rustic aesthetic, if you will. I'm putting real power into this, at least as much as I can possibly stand, and that knot is defeating me completely. And what do we turn to when we're defeated? The closest thing I have to a hand file. I'm gonna cut this out right about here. No, wait for it. And we're skipping this part. No. Very soon. Oh god, I hate watching it. I know I scraped my knuckle. But there it is. Yeah. I cleaned myself up. I got myself some band-aids. There's a decent chance you might have seen a blurred image for a second, because I really don't care for you to see even like the wisp of blood. It's not what you signed up for. And for nothing more than a gentle scrape. The hand file obsession, that the Shinto rasp satisfies that. Hey, future Adrian, this is my least favorite thing on the planet. This is the first time I fought a knot and hit it with a foot-long blade, and the result was exactly what it looked like. Please stop trying to focus, camera. The baby brother to the draw knife, which is the spoke shave, which I can take finer cuts with. Anything in service of getting this knot down and down to the line, I full on gave up. It was pain incarnate while it was happening, and I was so sore that I could not sleep right for 2 days. And this knot is part of the culprit. We're probably 5 hours into this this build in real time, and I gotta say, I am very motivated to get this thing done, or at least to the next stage. Like, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I am driving the train. I just realized that a train conductor would see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very tired. But using this little spoke shave at the very bottom of these shelves, not really a problem. I just needed to take off and round it a bit and make it that sort of feel that I wanted it to feel like. But I'm reasonably satisfied. I have on my safety glasses, which are my technically the glasses I should be wearing when doing anything. And I had on my dust mask for a lot of things that I should have had it on. I had it on for the entire time of the router. I think I took it off at this point, which, in my opinion, was a mistake. I don't particularly want a bunch of wood dust in my lungs. And at this point, I am both warm and sweaty, and I made an executive decision. I'm going to level out this thing. This one little butterfly that's going to be on the outside of this shelf. I wanted to flush it up, be very happy with it. And I'm lingering on this shot very long. I will likely cut some of that down. So I want to flatten it. Set the blade depth. The blade depth is too extreme. I don't know this yet. And I start making little cuts. And little cut almost instantaneously leverages this piece out of my board. I will go myself. Cool. Yep. Might as well finish the job, and let's never speak of this. So split the super glued boards apart. No more clamps. The sides are ready to go. Any excuse to use this little wood router is fine by me. It is very satisfying, but it has very specific use and very specific purpose, which means it has gotten very, very little use, and it hasn't been sharpened in a while, which to some extent does not matter for this tool. The first half of this video is, well, the first 3/4 of this video are going to be about getting these shelves put together. So I didn't support the shelves on the bottom. I leaned them against the wall. With this little clamping setup, I have just what I think is the best idea, which is to promote Deadpool, the movie. No. We're not promoting movies. You know what? I'm not going to say ignore my face. That's my face. It is what it is, and I like it. Like your faces, people. Everybody has interesting faces. As an animator, I can say your face is interesting, and that's not a bad thing. But I'm creating a 90-degree clamp support. I am salty today. And I'm just trying to get these screws in this board in an amicable way where it doesn't split out the top or the bottom. That's my only goal for this operation. Success. Then I flipped the entire operation on its side. The boards are staying in their grooves. That's super important and very good. If you see pain or frustration on my face, it's because I am standing on a tiny little stool with a boot with a case of tendinitis that is being held together with paper clips and super glue. But this works. Beyond all of my expectations, this of all things works. Beside myself with how this ended up. So let's get it flat again. Let's get those other shelves on. Come on. You. Yes. So there it is. Now there's only one thing that I care about right now. It's 9 o'clock. I've had like 2 potatoes, some chili, and as much water as I can possibly stand. Keep your safety glasses on. I blew dust into my eye the moment this was getting good. I washed my eyes out for like 15 minutes. It sucked. But now it's just a screw job. You put the boards in. I was adding glue as I went. I don't think it was necessary. The screws do a fine job. The glue was kind of a mess to get in, to stay in, and the screws were more than good enough. I made some silly decisions, like trying to file things down when I should just use a hammer. When in doubt, hammer and swear. There was so much swearing on this project. I cannot emphasize enough that it is imperative. It is imperative to let your project know that it is treating you badly. And it's your fault. Sorry. Okay. So, it worked. We time-lapsed through it. But these DVDs have to go somewhere before they can go on the shelf. What is a person to do? What are they to do? Really? Oh. That's what we're going to do. Taking it all down. I can see just how funky that old shelf is. It's about 1:30 in the morning in these clips. I told myself I would get everything on these shelves. Oh no, this isn't 1:30. This is closer to 3 a.m. I've sweat through my clothes all the way through. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm fading. And I'm gone. It's so upsetting to see myself pass out in real time. In time lapse. each frame is captured over the course of 3 seconds. And a 30-second clip, that's 3 seconds times 24, if I'm recording at 24 frames a second, times 30. I was asleep until my camera decided it had recorded long enough. But this shelf is a success. I love it. And the same reason there are 18 minutes left to go in this video, one shelf just is not enough. What am I going to do? I can't leave things on the funky shelf. I like the way that this shelf holds things. Even though it bows a little in the middle, that can be solved. That's not a problem. It holds so much stuff, but I have so much stuff. It's too much. What do I do? I mean, oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to put you through that. There's another one. I made another one the very next day. I couldn't sleep for 2 days because I made 2 shelves in 2 days. The first shelf took me over 13 hours. The second shelf took me 5. Not filming it, just moving around. This was extremely painful to stand up and sit down all the time and lean over. You can see me cooking. I believe I was cooking broccoli. And I am organizing I'm organizing the games and movies into their own sections. So now that the nitty gritty is over with and most of the construction is over with, this collection, every single movie and DVD that I still have, I've kept on purpose. I've sold probably 50 to 100 of not any one thing, but collectively I have culled this collection a few times. It's too much, but every damn game here, every movie, even stuff that I haven't played is a memory, and this is going so far to make this feel like home that I can barely describe how glad I am that I undertook this and how utterly exhausted it made me. Did not deter me from enjoying it. Now, let me tell you a little bit something about alphabetizing. I worked at GameStop for about, from 2004, no, from around 2004 to 2006, about 2 years. I helped open multiple stores. I was never a key. I was just a temp, or a part-timer. That was the right word. And alphabetizing things in like big groups, this was like crack to me. If you went to open a store, you got extra hours. They fed you. It was fun. And in retrospect, it created something in me where I had to have my stuff organized and alphabetized. I enjoyed it. And in 2006, Ghost Recon 2 was released. This was the first game that I worked on as a game dev in the form of being a temporary tester at my place of work. And I still remember this case. I remember those pictures. I remember the cover being super neat because it was different between the Xbox and the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube. It's a fun memory to have, still sealed in its package for the original Xbox. I also have like 7 of them. I can't let people get rid of the first thing that I ever did. Well, not the first thing that I ever did, but the first thing that I did in my current career, which shifted into animation about 3.5 years after I got into being a game dev. Now I've been an animator for close to 14 years, or actually, yeah, about 13 and a half, 14 years. And my hobbies are I try to get my hobbies to be as far away from a computer as possible until I have to edit them, and then I have to get back to the computer. But if there's any games that you see in here specifically that you like, enjoyed, or played, I guarantee you that those memories are worth remembering, and appreciating. They're part of you, and they shouldn't be thought of as childish or something you should be ashamed of. They're something that you enjoyed that created a level of dopamine and serotonin that your brain said this was worth it. And we've all got our favorite games. Two of my absolute favorites are Tetris Attack and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, but there are dozens of others that I can't think of off the top of my head without looking at them and holding them. 2 shelves worth of stuff. The right side is alphabetized all the way up to Super Nintendo. All the way up through the 3DS and the SNES and NES and the miscellaneous stuff on the top. All that still needs to be alphabetized. The DVDs have been organized in live action on the bottom, then non-Japanese animation, and then Japanese animation on the higher shelves. That is not commentary on what quality I think any of them are. That's just how I have it set up. So a couple of things. These shelves aren't finished. Like, they literally don't have a finish on them. And they sag a little in the middle. The weight is enough to make them bend ever so slightly. You can see it when I'm putting the stuff on the shelves. But at this stopping point, I was very happy. Now I'm back in the garage. I'm still happy. I'm warm. I'm very warm. Some people say that I'm... no, I can't do that. I cannot do that to any of you. But while it's very hot in the garage, my plan is to finish this with a blowtorch. I open the garage. I have a fan going on behind me. And I get to work. Now, something that I'll say for anybody that hasn't done this before, it's pretty hard to set an entire board on fire with a single blowtorch if you're moving it around. You can see that my goal here is to carburize the surface and then burnish it off with a Brillo pad, effectively. And also looking back at it, I've only done this on one project with my brother before, and I don't think that I went as far as I could with the blowtorch. I went as far as I felt comfortable with, because it is a relatively skinny board for being 0.75 inches. I didn't want to char the whole surface all the way to carburization and then take it down. I just wanted it to have that, I wanted to basically have a half measure where I'm not in fear of, like, compromising the structural capacity of these boards. I don't want anything to be in threat. I just want it to be nice and pretty and dark, and then cleaned off with a Brillo pad. My neighbors will soon find out that I like playing with fire, and I sincerely hope that I can get a forge in my garage without pissing anybody off. Because if I can't, then I'll live here for a few years and peace out. That is my honest to goodness goal, is to have a garage or separate workshop where I can do things and have fun. But as you can see, this wipes off the carburized areas. So where it gets darkest, under it as this sort of burnt wood, and the Brillo pad gets rid of the surface level carbon, and you're left with the burnt wood under it. That is, as I understand it, it does slightly protect the wood. It seals it, and it looks really freaking cool, and I get to play with a blowtorch and inhale a lot of smoke. I basically put my head over it and just open my mouth and just... No, I didn't do that. I did stay as safe as possible. The little dinky fan behind me could have been better, so I took this outside after a while. I also made sure that it didn't make my upstairs smell like smoke. I'm not about to completely ruin this house that I just got, but I am going to tempt fate. I will tempt fate nonstop. Sorry, I got somewhat entranced in watching this over again, and I've been talking for 45 straight minutes. Not something that I do much on a daily basis anymore, staying at home. This was a fun weekend. This is a week after I made these shelves, or put the shelves together. This is the next weekend, and this was a very fun Saturday for me. Picking Brillo pads out of things. And just overall, I cannot emphasize enough how if you have room for a project that you want to do, treat yourself and do it. If you don't have the tools to do it, figure out what the bare minimum tools you can use are. I had a screwdriver, a 20-year-old router, and screws. And that's it. The boards that I just chose 6-foot board lengths and did not cut them to any specific size. I realize now that I could have said that at the beginning while I was making this together, or putting all this together, but like, I worked within my constraints, and I ended up with something that I like more than what I drew out because it's within my ability to do without making something overcomplicated. This is as simple as it gets, and I paid for it in time. I paid for it in effort, and I paid for it in sweat and just a little bit of blood. That's worth it. And then I set it all on fire. I scared people's dogs. I tried to make sure I didn't film into my neighbors' homes. I think that's important to make sure that nobody has to see me with a camera out. I am much more shy than I let on. I don't want anybody to have to worry about me. I do love the way that this looks. I think I could be a little bit more consistent with the coverage, but man, it's cool. Oh, very pleased. Very, very pleased. And soon I will have my garage set up in a way where I'm more easily able to cut and dimension boards and even hand plane again, which, man, I miss hand planing. Draw knife is fun, but hand plane is the metaphor for this simile. I cannot think of any words that would do it justice right now. And not light, but not so heavy that I can't move them by myself. I think that was kind of a happy accident. Another happy accident was my car was filled to the brim in the passenger seat with all of these boards. It was Tetris to get them in, it was Tetris to get them out. And bring on the paste wax. Let me talk to you about wearing a mask. I did not realize until after the fact how intense these fumes got after the amount of time that it took me to do this. I love this finish. I love the wax finish. I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I am rubbing off any excess carbon that this old shirt rag picked up. I like everything about this except my level of safety here. I disapprove of. I should have had on a respirator with an activated charcoal lining so that I wasn't breathing in these fumes. I definitely gave myself some brain damage that I recovered from. But I'm not kidding. Like I've been a little spacey for about a week, and I don't like that. I do like the way that the wax makes it pop. Worth it once, never worth it twice. Don't play with your health. Don't play with fumes. Huffing things will kill you. Yes, I have dad mode and it is fully activated and I don't have any kids. It's not the point. Be kind to yourself. That's the point. And now, It's all like all these video games that I very carefully took off and kept in order. They've all been alphabet. Oh my god, they've all been alphabetized. The DS has been alphabetized, and now we are going to, in real time with my crackhead hands, alphabetize the SNES games and not stack them on top of one another. The NES games, the S's, there were so many S's, so many more S's in almost every single alphabetization stack that I was just impressed. That was not, however, true with DVDs. I don't think that S's won, except I'm watching me be wrong in real time. The Star Wars stack won. Hello, Selena. I'm glad that you got a little bit of cushion cat in this. She was being a very sweet baby. She likes the shelves. I like naps. And if you've ever alphabetized a store full of media, one thing that I will say is if for any reason you pause it at any time, you're like, hey, you didn't do that right. I did it right according to my system, and I also caught some errors that I made while I was putting things on the shelf. So I promise you that it's right for me. And it is okay to disagree with me. I don't care at all. I made little cardboard spacers that sort of keep the shelves from warping too much when more weight is put on them. Not pictured on this side, but pictured on the other side. And I'll replace those with little wood planks that are precision cut when I can cut things precisely. So that's it. That's a lot of time lapse. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of games and movies. But I really, really like the way that this turned out. This collection, I have had multiple people visit to do work on the house, and we just sat there and talked about anime for like 15, 20 minutes. And he was super nice, and we were just going over the stuff we saw as kids. There's some really good one on that top shelf. Easter eggs aside, it's nice to appreciate the things that you appreciate and not really give a shit. Enjoy what you enjoy because it's important to you. If you're not hurting anybody, you're having a good time. And you're exercising your imagination, your reflexes, your skills, having 8 copies of the same game for Ghost Recon 2. If you worked on Ghost Recon 2, I cannot emphasize it enough. It's good. Most of those Sega Saturn cases are empty. They're just for show. The red case on there is Doom. I have multiples of mini games because some of them are my brother's. And yeah, I'm very pleased. If you made this 50 minutes into this video and you're still watching, thank you very much. If you're a new subscriber, also thank you. It's nice to see it go up by 1 or 2 every now and again. It's not a lot, but oh, that other shelf. Yeah, we'll fix that up later. Don't worry about that. I'm trying to thank people for showing up at all. Yeah. If you like this stuff, let me know. If you have your favorite games or movies at this point in the video and you're still watching, absolutely let me know. Everybody's got new ones. It's fun to be excited about what you enjoy. I hope you have a good day. And I want you to make something. Make something. Anything. Enjoy it. Bye.